I'm Rudy, the lowest ranked student in the entire school. But the year I finished high school, I got into the world-renowned University of Notre Dame. Back in high school, I visited the University of Notre Dame, but the teacher singled me out and stopped me.
I'm sorry, Rudy. This bus is for students who are interested in attending the university. It's not a sightseeing tour.
Well, maybe someday I could go to school there.
Rudy, you don't have the grades for Joliet Community, much less Notre Dame. The secret to happiness in this life is to be grateful for the gifts the good Lord has bestowed upon us. Rudy, not everyone is meant to go to college.
His words stabbed at my heart like needles. Suddenly I remembered. This was exactly how my family had always treated me.
After high school, I'm gonna play football at Notre Dame.
You're gonna play football at Notre Dame?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna buy a mansion at Lakeshore Drive.
They never believed in me. All my passion and dreams were drenched like a flame doused by cold water. But what no one knew was that the decision I made would completely rewrite my destiny. 4 years slipped by in the noise of life. On my 22nd birthday, my best friend Pete gave me a gift, a Notre Dame jersey. It was secondhand and secretly obtained, but to me, it was more precious than anything brand new. I felt my eyes welling up. He was the only one who truly understood me. I told him with a sigh that I might never have a chance with Notre Dame. The only thing that made me happy was saving up $1,000. Reality was like a dull blade, slowly grinding down the fire of my youth and pushing me into a world I once hated most, money and triviality. But Pete once told me something I could never forget.
Well, you know what my dad always said, having dreams is what makes life tolerable.
As a child, I had a dream of playing football, but that dream came with constant mockery from my playmates and ridicule from my family. We were all diehard fans of Notre Dame football, but none of them thought I deserved a spot. Why should the son of a steelworker be doomed to follow in his father's footsteps? Only Pete listened patiently every time I rehashed those games. When others mocked or insulted me, he always stood up for me. I thought we'd be friends for life, but fate was cruel. When there was a boiler leak at the plant, Peter is gone forever. At his funeral, all I could think about were the memories we shared. I knew then no one would ever listen to me talk about those crazy games again. No one would reminisce about campus dreams with me. No one would stand up for me when I was bullied. I suddenly realized that if you don't chase your dreams, they're nothing but empty words. So I left for Notre Dame immediately. It was the place both of us had dreamed of. But my girlfriend, when she found out, was deeply worried.
If you have to go, then you have to go alone.
No matter how lonely the road ahead, it was better than wasting away in despair. Before I left, my father quietly sat beside me.
Chasing a stupid dream causes nothing but you and everyone around you heartache. Notre Dame is for rich kids, smart kids, great athletes. It's not for us. You're a Rudiger. There's nothing in the world wrong with being a Rudiger. You can have a damn nice life.
But I didn't want to be locked in this prison of reality for life. Maybe my dream was unrealistic, but in this life, some people choose to be caged birds and some choose to break free. This was my path, and no matter how hard it was, I was willing to walk it. When I arrived at Notre Dame, dawn was just breaking. The guard told me to speak with a priest, but when the priest heard that I had average grades and still wanted to get into Notre Dame directly, he said almost exactly what my dad had.
This university, it's not for everybody.
Ever since I was a kid, I wanted to go to school here. And ever since I was a kid, everyone said it couldn't be done. My whole life, people have been telling me what I could do and couldn't do. I've always listened to them, believed in what they said. I don't want to do that anymore.
Unexpectedly, he was moved by my determination. He suggested I first attend the Holy Cross College next door and apply to transfer once I had good grades. Holding on to my dream, I finally saw a glimmer of hope. However small, it was the closest I'd ever been to Notre Dame. I was so excited, I didn't even unpack before rushing to the football field, the holy ground of my dreams. The spring air was warm, the breeze gentle. I felt success was just one step away. My heart pounded like a drum, beat by beat, as if the whole world held its breath, listening to my footsteps toward my dream. But then a staff member interrupted my daydream and told me to leave.
Hey, someday I'm gonna come out of that tunnel and I'm gonna run onto this field.
He thought I was some kind of prodigy and told me to talk to the coach. I walked into the coach's office without hesitation and told him my dream, but he wasn't impressed. A few words and I was dismissed. From then on, I studied like crazy, keeping the priest's words in mind. I was terrified of missing even a single point of knowledge, wishing I could carve the teacher's words into my brain. Because of that passion, I caught the attention of Bob, the assistant. He was a straight-A student at Notre Dame, but had one fatal flaw. He couldn't talk to girls. When he saw how easily I chatted with strangers, he offered a deal. If I helped him talk to girls, he'd tutor me for free. It was like a dream come true. Every day he tutored me while I played matchmaker. Even though he failed every time, life began to feel a little more fun. Eventually, love did come crashing down on Bob's head. As for me, I never forgot my goal. I went to the Notre Dame Stadium and tried to build a rapport with the coach. I also tracked down the staff member who kicked me out and begged him to let me be his assistant without pay. Seeing my sincerity, he finally agreed. The next day, he took me to the players' locker room. For someone like me who'd watched countless games, this place was sacred. I even knew which player used which locker. He must have been shocked. I looked at the team's motto on the wall, grabbed a stool, and immediately reenacted a classic game.
Go, 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 go! And we're not gonna stop until we get across that goal line!
I got more and more excited, unable to hide my passion. The staffer gave a slight smile, as if he finally understood what made me different. We worked late that night. In the supply room, I saw a bed and had a wicked idea. I couldn't afford rent. Why not sleep here? I secretly unlatched the window. That night, I climbed in and stayed. Life was a heavy stone that kept me from breathing. Poverty was a swamp trapping my feet, but the phrase, "dreams make life worth enduring," always pushed me forward. Soon, the first Notre Dame football game of the season arrived. I couldn't even afford a ticket, so I had to stand outside the stadium listening to the cheers. Just one wall away, but it felt like a whole world apart. I waited until after the crowd had gone before stepping into the field to feel the lingering warmth. That night, the wind was cold. I snuck back into the supply room as usual, but this time, there was a blanket and a key on the bed. I knew. It was from the staffer. The next day, I tried to thank him, but he wouldn't admit it. Maybe some kindness doesn't need to be said aloud. As long as we both knew, that was enough. Time flew by. A semester ended and the grades were released. 1 A, 3 Bs. For me, that was a huge improvement, but for Notre Dame, still far from enough. As expected, my transfer application was rejected. Before Christmas, I returned home hoping for some warmth, but all I got was my father's sarcasm and my brother's scorn. What hurt the most, my ex-girlfriend was now dating my second brother. That night, the house was brightly lit, but I knew not a single light was shining for me. Fate loves its cruel jokes, and this path was one I had to walk alone. Why did I feel like I was the only one holding on to a dream? Still, even if my ideals crushed me again and again, and love abandoned me again and again, I'd grit my teeth and keep walking. I believed that only painstaking effort could lead to a brand new future. From that day forward, I worked even harder, racing against time every day, but the results were still disappointing. I even began to doubt myself and vented to the janitor, but he casually said,
"You got your head so far up your ass about that damn football team, you don't get the fact you just got 1 year of top quality education. Don't be wasting my time."
It felt like a bucket of cold water over my head, but it also woke me up. I had been so focused on the finish line that I forgot how beautiful the scenery along the way could be. So I set sail again, ready to face the challenges ahead. But reality never pulls its punches. My third semester transfer application was also lost in silence. All that relentless effort once again vanished like smoke. Looking back at the path I had taken, I was filled with helplessness. The future before me was covered in fog, so uncertain it made it hard to breathe. I didn't know what more I could do to get the answer I longed for. Notre Dame didn't accept transfer students beyond junior year. If I failed this time, I would forever lose the chance to reach my dream. I had no one left to turn to but the priest. I poured out all the bitterness I had bottled up over the years.
Hell of a job, kid. Chasing down your dream.
I don't care what kind of job I did. If it doesn't produce results, it doesn't mean anything.
I think you'll discover that it will.
Finally, the fourth semester came. I received that letter, but I didn't open it right away. Instead, I tucked it into a book and walked around campus over and over again, trying to build up enough courage to face it. When I finally saw the word accepted, I jumped up. God hadn't let my efforts go to waste. All the persistence, all those sleepless nights were finally paying off. True opportunity never turns its back on someone who never gives up. I ran to tell my father right away. When he held the acceptance letter in his hands, he could hardly believe it. My older brother's eyes widened in shock. My father rushed to tell everyone at the plant, and even though my brother looked a little annoyed, he still congratulated me. But I didn't let myself relax, not even for a second. There was something even more important ahead, the summer tryout camp. That place was filled with gifted players, and the competition was brutal. Only 15 would make the cut, and even then, they'd only be practice squad members. But I didn't back down. My eyes burned with a determination stronger than anyone else's. Even when I stood face to face with players twice my size, I never flinched. I fell over and over and kept getting back up. Even when my head was bleeding, I clenched my teeth and kept going. Did it hurt? Of course it hurt, but compared to the dream I'd been chasing, what was that pain? The assistant coach noticed me. He even got into arguments with other coaches just to make sure I could stay on the team. It was my relentless spirit, my willingness to sprint again and again, that finally moved him.
Wait, does that mean I'm on the team?
Yeah, kid, you're on the team.
Thank you!
Hey, come on.
From that day forward, I really did what I promised the coach. I never slacked off. I got knocked down by the starters again and again, but I kept going. That never give up mentality was carved into my bones. Even when my body was covered in bruises, the pain was nothing compared to the torment of a dream always just out of reach. One time, after being hit hard, I couldn't even get up. The next hit was even worse. The team's captain slammed into me, and when I tried to get up, he kicked me. After practice, he calmed down, apologized to me, and then asked in confusion, because of all this,
"Don't you understand, man? If you don't cool it out there, you're gonna end up getting yourself killed."
If I cool it, I won't be helping you guys get ready for the next week's games. Got it?
I got it.
I gave everything I had during practice and even cheered with all my heart from the stands during games. But soon, I ran into trouble. During one practice, I hit a player who wasn't even ready. I could tell he'd had it in for me for a while. He threw the ball at me, and I lost it. We got into a fight. As he hit me, he sneered and called me a mascot. Coach finally arrived. He didn't scold me. Instead, he lit into that starting player.
"If you had a tenth of the heart at Rutgers, you could have made All-American. As it is, you just went from the third team to the prep team. Go on, get out of here."
I understood then. My effort. Coach had seen it all along. But my family back home had no idea. Even when my face was covered in cuts, my father and brother still didn't believe I was really on the team because they'd never seen me on TV. After returning to school, I went to Coach and begged him to give me a chance to play next season. I told him I wanted to give that game as a gift to my father. He was moved and agreed on the spot. It meant the world to me. I told my father the good news right away. But the next day, the newspaper announced the head coach's resignation. It felt like I'd fallen straight from heaven into hell. The joy in my heart collapsed in an instant. And the worst part? The new coach had no idea who I was. No matter how hard I worked to catch his attention, my name never made it onto the roster. Again and again, I gave it everything I had. And all I got in return was disappointment and rejection. Late at night, alone with my thoughts, I could only quietly lick the wounds no one could see. If giving it everything I had still led to heartbreak in the end, then what was the point of all this pain and persistence? And so, another season passed. But even in the final game's starting lineup, my name wasn't there. This time, it completely broke me. I hadn't missed a single practice, but the only thing I had to show for it were the marks time had left on my body. Fate always seems to hit hardest when I'm trying my hardest. For me, effort and reward never come equally. I didn't even want to show up for that last practice. That's when the janitor found me. I said to him, "Is it really so hard just to prove myself once?" My voice trembled. It was like all the frustration I'd buried finally had an outlet. I wasn't chasing fame. I just wanted to tell the world, I can too. The old man replied. I said softly, "I'm sorry I never let you see me out there on the field." But he told me. He had watched countless games over the years. Just not from the field, but from the cold bench in the locker room. It turned out he'd once been a player for Notre Dame too. But after never getting a chance to play, he quit in frustration. From that day on, regret followed him everywhere. He didn't want me to make the same mistake. He wanted me to give closure to that version of me who had fought so hard for a dream. Even if the outcome wasn't perfect, at least I wouldn't have to regret backing down. I picked myself back up and returned to the practice field. My teammates applauded my return. I was so moved I almost cried. Yeah, I'd made some of the best friends here, played so many games, built so many memories. It really hadn't been for nothing. After practice, the team captain walked into the coach's office.
"I want Rudy to dress in my place, Coach. He deserves it."
And then, one by one, more and more of the official players walked in. They risked getting cut, all to fight for just one tiny chance for me to get on the field. One jersey after another piled up. In the end, the coach had no choice but to agree. Time flew by. Game day finally came. My family showed up as promised. Even Bob, who had just gotten into grad school, rushed over. They all came for one reason, to see me play. My blood was on fire. I had dreamed of this moment for so long. Among all the players, I looked small, but I wasn't scared. All the hardship of the last 8 years came together in this one shining moment. My heart felt like it was about to burst from my chest. I was ready to burn everything I had on that field. All my family and friends were overwhelmed seeing me out there fighting. I knew they were proud of me. Even the janitor came to the sidelines to watch. Our opponent was a former championship team, but by halftime, we were far ahead. All those desperate hours we'd spent training had turned into a dominant force on the field. Touchdown after touchdown, tackle after tackle. Their score fell further and further behind. But then, in the final minute of the game, Coach announced that all the seniors would be subbed in, except me. The captain spoke up for me, but the coach chose to ignore it. Just then, the co-captain shouted my name. One by one, my teammates joined in, and soon the entire stadium caught on. The chant grew louder and louder, echoing through the stands. Those voices pulled me out of the darkness. My nose stung, my eyes welled up. This wasn't just recognition, it was justice, long overdue. With 37 seconds left, the team chose to switch to an offensive play, because if they went into defense, I'd have no chance of getting on the field. So they had to score to buy me those final seconds. And in just 10 seconds, they made it. My name rang across the stadium. The announcer began telling my story. The crowd finally knew who I was, someone who gave everything for a dream. At last, under the weight of all that pressure, the coach gave in and told me to get ready. He offered me 27 seconds. But just standing there, that wasn't my style. I was going to give everything I had and end this 8-year journey in the most unforgettable way. In that moment, I was the brightest presence on the field. For that distant, nearly unreachable dream I had fought for 8 long years, just for this 27 seconds of glory. Some might say it wasn't worth it, but how many moments in life truly shine? How many things can still bring you to tears when you're old? Yes, life often feels out of our control. Heavy blows can break us down. We get pushed around by broken systems, unfair fate, and our own fear. But sometimes the one to break those chains is you. Be the one brave enough to try, the one bold enough to go off script, the one unafraid to be different. Choose the path your heart longs for. Don't let life decide everything for you. Even if you feel powerless now, never forget, on the road to your dream, there was once someone burning with passion, risking it all, charging forward with everything he had.